Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and tomorrow is Game 7 of the NBA Finals between the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Just to kind of review what we've seen so far from this series before we get into some Game 7 talk, we'll kind of talk about which player I think, or players that have the most to gain from a Game 7 win tomorrow night. We'll kind of look at the keys to the game for the Thunder to pull this one out, and then I'll kind of give you my predictions and thoughts on what I think might happen in Game 7. But let's kind of review and go over what the series has brought us so far. Obviously, Game 1 is going to be known as the Tyrese Halliburton game winner game. That game, Thunder were in control the entire time until late, and then Pacers came storming back and ended with a Tyrese Halliburton game winner with zero point 0.3 seconds on the clock. Game 2, the Thunder come storming back and win by double digits to even the series up at 1, heading back to Indiana. Before, in Game 3, Indiana kind of dominated the Thunder, showed them that they're much better on their home court than on the road, and they went up 2-1. And then in Game 4, the Thunder even that series back up in a big game, and what some will look at if the Pacers end up losing this finals, where the Pacers kind of lost the finals where they were up double digits entering the fourth quarter, and the Thunder came back late in that fourth and just completely took that game away, kind of Game 1 essence, but flip-flopped where the Thunder took it on Indiana's home court. So heading back to Game 5, series tied 2-2, Thunder just kind of dominate the Pacers on all levels. Just kind of looked like the Thunder team we know and love, and they went up 3-2, heading back to Indiana on Thursday with a chance to, or Friday, with a chance to win the NBA championship. And then, like we know, the Pacers just, it was domination from pretty much start to finish. They ended quarter 3 up 90-60. The Thunder put out their bench, and so did Indiana, and it was kind of over in 3 quarters. And here we are, series is tied 3-3, and now this is a one-game thing. You can cut everything out that has happened up until this point, because in a Game 7, we'll talk about keys to the game and what the Thunder can do to hopefully win this game. But at the end of the day, it's take out all the stats, take out everything it's just one game winner take all. You got to be ready, and most of the time the better team wins. So we believe that OKC is the better team out of the two. They've been the best team in the league from start to finish, and hopefully they can finish it off with an NBA championship. But let's kind of transition into who I think what player has the most to gain from a Game 7 win. A few names kind of come to mind. I'll kind of give you my reason why I think they kind of have the most to gain from this series. Number one is obviously Shea. I think Shea's definitely the one that has the most to gain from a win right here. You are the MVP of the league. You have the best team all year, and you're leading that team. And with everybody talking about how Shea only shoots free throws, how he's not an actual hooper, blah, 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 all of that stuff. If you get a championship, you end your season with an all-time great season, you get your MVP, you probably end up with finals MVP. You're going to have an NBA championship, all-star, all-NBA first team, all of those things for a near perfect season for Shea, and the only other guard to do with the numbers Shea has is MJ. So for Shea, this just puts him up into that echelon of already have a title and looking to create a dynasty with this team. So I definitely think Shea is one of those guys that is the guy that has the most to gain from this. Kind of two guys on the Pacers I think that obviously gain the most is Tyrese and Pascal. On the Tyrese side, obviously, if they pull out the win, this would be known as the Tyrese playoff run with a game winner in every single round. And this would kind of, for most people, put him into that superstar category. Where would we rank him in the maybe top 10 in the league, you would have to say, because he won. So it would push him into superstardom with a title. For Siakam, this would be his second title, and then it's starting to lurk around how people are like, who would have a better career with 2 titles, KD or Siakam. So Siakam's going to get himself into those conversations with those guys with 2 titles, such as KD and the people like that, where you start talking about Pascal as maybe a top 20, 25 player of all time if he continues on this trajectory and possibly wins another one and ends up with 3. And then another player that I think has a lot to gain, or not even players necessarily, but Rick Carlisle is another one I forgot to mention that I think he has a lot to gain just from a coaching perspective. So does Mark Dagnall, being such a young coach and sticking with the Thunder throughout all this time and ending up with a championship just will put him into the top 3 coaches in the league. Sam Presti will become obviously the general manager, the best general manager. Most people believe he already is, but with a championship kind of cements himself as that. Another player that I think has a lot to gain as well is J-Dub. I think if he gets one, it cements himself, especially after that 40-point performance. It will cement himself as the Scotty next to MJ and the Shea next, or J-Dub next to Shea essence. So it'll put him up there. I think he's already had his NBA Finals moment with that Game 5 performance. So I think even if he only scores, say, 20 tomorrow, I think even with that 40-point performance, he's going to have that big game to kind of people come back on in this finals years from now and kind of look back and say that was when he kind of took that leap into stardom. We'll kind of transition now into the keys for the Thunder for this Game 7 tomorrow night. I think a big key, I mean, I'm just going to keep harping on it because I think in this series specifically, it's the biggest thing between these two on who's going to win and who's going to be able to come out on top. And it's just simply turnovers. And it's probably not the prettiest answer that you want to hear, but at the end of the day, if it's just seemed like in every game, whoever takes care of the ball better is going to end up winning. And you look at it from every single game, whoever turned the ball over the most or whoever was having trouble controlling the ball when they had possession didn't end up winning that game. And for the Thunder, you're going to have the confidence of that you're at home, so hopefully your guys are a bit more comfortable. Everybody's going to have that little bit of nerves and anxiety, all of that, because it is a Game 7, and the only people that nobody really has had experience out of all of these players, nobody's had an experience like this in Game 7 of the finals, because the most recent Game 7 in the finals was in 2016 with the Cavs and Warriors. So not even Siakam or Caruso, who are the most experienced guys, has this type of experience with how to deal with a winner-take-all in the biggest stage of basketball. But kind of transition back, it's just turnovers at the end of the day, and OKC's bread and butter on defense is forcing turnovers. So if they can get back into that for one more game and force possibly 20 turnovers to 12, I think that'll be kind of the point where the Thunder want to hit. If they can get the Pacers up in the high teens to low 20s and you're still around that hopefully 10 to 13 range, not much more than that. You don't really want to get above 15. If you're the Thunder at that point, you're giving the Pacers a lot of extra possessions that could come back to haunt you. So I think another big thing is the Thunder's bench just has to play better overall. Like we've said, you can tell the Thunder bench is a lot less comfortable on the road in Indiana compared to when they're at home. It feels like the bench players just come out and everybody's hitting threes. So if you can get a few threes from guys like Wiggins, Wallace, Caruso's, if they can combine for 6 threes, all of them make 2, that's going to make a huge difference. And another big one, straight up, excuse me, is Chet. What are you going to get from Chet? We talked about it yesterday on how we know Chet's going to be an all-world defender and he's going to protect the rim like crazy, but can you get anything from him offensively? He only had 4 points last game on 2 for 9 from shooting. So you got to get more from Chet. You got to see at least 15 points from Chet to feel good about your chances in this. And I think Chet has been noticing a lot of noise around him. So I think this could definitely be a thing where the Pacers are going to be so locked in on Shea and J-Dub and trying to limiting them on traps and pressure that if you're Chet, this is your chance to go out there and kind of prove a lot of people wrong. There's even a lot of Thunder fans suggesting that you're not with us long term because of your play in the NBA Finals. So I think if Chet can have one more great game and kind of win some of those Thunder fans back and continue to grow into himself, it's going to be huge. And I think one more key for the Thunder, for me at least, is playing within yourself. There's going to be so much anxiety and built up energy. You're going to be so ready for the game to start that once you get out there, you don't want to use too much energy early on. It's a 48-minute game. The crowd's going to give you that energy you need. You just need to go in there, play how you guys know how to play, and the crowd will feed into it. Every time you guys make a big play, a big stop, the crowd will make it where that big play is going to seem 10 times bigger. And anytime there's a block or a steal and the Pacers miss something, the crowd's going to make them know it. And it's just crazy that, excuse me, goodness, that crowd is going to be an all-time crowd. I mean, I cannot explain how excited I am to see how this OKC crowd is. The last Game 7 OKC got was back in 2016 in the Western Conference Finals. So OKC's never had a Game 7 in the finals, let alone it being at the Paycom. I know people that are going. I wish I could go, but those prices, I just couldn't pull it out. But it's going to be fun. And I mean, I think this crowd is going to, like I've said, I think home court is going to make the biggest difference in this. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. My predictions for this game and kind of what my thoughts are on it, I think it's going to be close I think it'll be close, like no more than a 10-point lead for most of this game. And I think it's going to be close until halftime. I think there's going to be a lot of different runs. I think the Thunder and Pacers get out to big runs in the third quarter and to kind of cancel each other out. And all I can hope for is that it's not a one-possession game and the Pacers have the last shot. I think that would be like the ultimate storyline to possibly say Tyrese misses a game winner to lose the finals after all of that. I think that would be some like storybook ending. And a lot of people are talking about what's the most storybook ending for the NBA Finals. I think that's up there. I think a lot of people have talked about Shea, knock on wood, Shea missing like free throws to win the game. That would be like something that would be like a storybook ending to this season. But I mean, I just have to feel confident. I mean, we're at home. Everybody, I just think the home court is going to be just that bit of difference. I think everybody's going to play where the teams are going to be so evenly matched. I just feel like the slight difference in this game is going to be that it's home court and the crowd, just as much as you don't want to admit it as a road team, the crowd makes it that much harder to hit shots and get engaged into it. And I just feel like the Thunder will use that to their advantage, especially as a young team. I mean, you've seen all the stats that the Thunder have had compared to at home and on the road. I mean, it just speaks for itself, and I think the Thunder pull it out. But let me know what you guys think down below. Game 7 is tomorrow, so let me know what you guys have for your predictions down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.